Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. We're so excited today to be talking about Disney films. There's live action remakes are not my favorite, but the live action remake of Aladdin has been a really interesting one to watch unfold the highs and lows of the marketing campaign, you might say, and then to watch the final film. And we're going to talk about it, and we're going to dive into the spoilers. If you can spoil a remake of a film from 1992, but that's nevertheless what we're going to do. So we're going to go over kind of point by point the film, whether we like the choices, not like the choices. It's going to be fun. And I'm Rachel, and I'm joined by my friend Richard.
Hello.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, that's my pleasure.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about the original Aladdin? Where does it sort of hold for you in the pantheon of Disney classic animated films?
I would say it is one of my favorites. I was 5 when it came out, so I don't like actively remember seeing it at the cinema, but I think I must have.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we watched the VHS all the time. It was definitely one I always felt very fondly towards.
Yeah, it's really wonderful. I didn't connect with it the same way I connected with Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast. I was just a hair older, just a little bit, and I think because it was a boy's story, about Aladdin, I still liked it a lot, but I didn't connect with it quite as much as Belle or Ariel's story as a kid.
Yeah, I can't really remember whether I connected to it more because it was a boy's story.
Yeah.
I don't know when I really felt forced on that level.
Mm.
But it was still one I definitely enjoyed.
But I love the music, and I thought then that Robin Williams' The Genie was just amazing, and I still do. I think that it's arguably the greatest vocal performance, certainly in the history of Disney, but I think in the history of animation, period. I think it's one of the best.
Yeah.
If not the best.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it was improv, wasn't it? He just do his own thing, and the animators had to work around him with whatever he produced.
Yeah, he would. I literally, I think they put him in a room with just a bunch of props and stuff, and just said go at it, and he just would riff for hours on like that opening scene when he's the peddler and he's selling his things and he's talking about Tupperware and stuff like that. Like that was just him with a bunch of stuff that he was just making jokes about, and he could go on for hours doing that. And so it's amazing. It's really remarkable. And the music, it was kind of our last taste of Howard Ashman, and then Tim Rice came in, and the that kind of Broadway style of music that was so popular in the Disney Renaissance, and it's just so much fun. And I don't really even think that there's a bad song in the whole movie.
No, definitely not. No,
it's not like
was it the lyrics that Howard Ashman had worked on then? Just remind me.
Yes, he worked on that. He's a lyricist, and I don't know which songs he wrote and which ones Tim Rice wrote, because of course Howard Ashman had passed away before Beauty and the Beast came out, and so I don't know which ones he wrote and which ones he didn't write, but anyway, it was kind of just the last of the one of that true sort of feel. You still have a little bit of that feel, I think, in Pocahontas, I guess, a little bit, but there's just something about those three that are really special. Those and then Lion King would kind of take it in more of a poppy direction, more of a little bit less of a Broadway, I think, feel, and that you would have. And I think The Hunchback of Notre Dame actually has a lot of classical elements to it. It's less of a show tunes feel to me. And then you've got gospel, of course, in Hercules, which is random. And you have definitely pop in Tarzan. Full on pop. And so I don't know, it's just sort of it's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So, but I do love that original Aladdin. I think that because the genie is so great, some of the other characters could be feel a little bit bland to me, and I do think it's not as artistically, I think, beautiful as Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast, but it's still really, really good. I really enjoy it, and it's definitely my top 20 of Disney animated films.
Yeah,
So
but yeah, it's definitely in my probably in my top five. Definitely in the top
yeah.
10 for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you want to listen to more analysis of the 1992 film, you should check out our Talking Disney episode with me and Stanford, talking about that. We go into pretty deep detail about that movie. And so today we're talking about the new version. How did you feel going into the theater? Were you expecting the worst, or how, this marketing was pretty not the best? How
Yeah,
did you feel about it?
yeah. The marketing didn't really give you much to get especially excited about. I felt
Mm-hmm.
even like that little video on of the Prince Ali song. It didn't really sound. It didn't have that much energy to it compared to the original.
Yeah.
But I still went to see it here because partly because I was interested to see how it would compare, and also because I still thought it would be a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been a fan of these live action remakes in general?
I definitely really liked some of them. I really enjoyed Cinderella,
Mm-hmm.
and the Jungle Book was quite good. Beauty and the Beast, though, I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
What the ones like Maleficent was pretty terrible, and I'm not sure Alice in Wonderland really counts as a remake because it's meant to be like a sequel or something, isn't it?
The
But
Alice
that
in
was great.
Wonderland. Yeah, technically, I think it still is in this sort of family of movies to me. But
Yeah.
yeah, if you're going to be technical, same thing with Mary Poppins Returns. I think I still count it in this grouping, even though technically it's a sequel.
Mhm.
It feels the same to me.
Yeah, well, I thought Mary Poppins was okay. Mary
Mhm.
Poppins Returns, rather.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's an interesting thing. I really loved Pete's Dragon. I
yeah,
really
that was good.
loved.
I haven't
Yeah.
actually seen the original though. I did see the remake in the cinemas and thought that was
Yeah.
very good, but I haven't actually seen the original film.
Yeah. My favorite are uh Pete's Dragon, and then Cinderella, and then Jungle Book are my favorites of this series. So it's an interesting thing, and I think that aside from Naomi Scott saying that she was, modernizing uh, Jasmine, which I can understand now in retrospect after seeing the movie why she
Yeah,
said that.
you can understand what you meant by that. Yeah,
Yeah, but it just came off as kind of not the best, and because she is a pretty modern character. The only thing that I think in the original that she uh, that I think what made it controversial, I think she said that, oh, she's not just after a man. It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense, because she may not be wanting to be sultan in the original, but she certainly wasn't just after a man by any stretch of the imagination. And so that was a little frustrating,
yeah,
but for the most part they weren't that bad compared to Beauty and the Beast, as far as continually sort of talking about how they were making it better, and that was very frustrating for me in this one. So I don't know, it's an interesting thing, these remakes. But how did you feel after you saw the movie? What was your overall opinion of
well, I thought it was only okay.
it? Mm-hmm.
I mean, I definitely kind of felt the nostalgia effect when I was first watching it and listening to the old songs again,
Mm-hmm.
and I was quite liking some of the. I was quite interested in some of the changes that they made, but I found myself getting a bit tired around the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
By the time he's become Prince Ali and they have that whole festival.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, I'm not that far off, actually. I was left having very mixed feelings about it. I felt like I felt like I really enjoyed Jasmine and Aladdin more than I expected to, that's for sure. And I thought that they did a really good job. They had nice chemistry. I thought that they were good in their roles, and I thought that Whole New World was really quite good. I enjoyed that sequence. We'll talk more about it, but
yeah,
and but I was very mixed on the genie. I thought when Will Smith was doing his sort of hitch in Agrabah routine, that was funny, and I enjoyed that. But when he's the blue genie, I just felt like they sucked a lot of the humor out of this movie. And I didn't want them to redo what Robin Williams did, but I was expecting them to replace those jokes with new jokes, maybe a little bit more contemporary, because that's what they do in the Broadway musical or in the Disneyland show that was there for forever. And so the fact that you could go through Prince Ali and not have except for Genie and Drag, not have a single joke. And that was kind of a bummer. And you don't have a single joke from Iago. Not one.
No, because he's handled very differently, Iago, isn't he? He's more like just a parrot who makes occasional quips.
Yeah.
Really.
So that, I don't know, it just felt like it all felt very surface level to me, and kind of checking off boxes, but it wasn't. I enjoyed, like I said, if it's Aladdin's movie and I enjoyed Aladdin, that's good. But it wasn't enough that I could go fresh on it. I gave it 5 out of 10. So I was right down the middle as far as what I liked and didn't like. I have seen it twice. And so we're just going to dive in and talk about it. Okay. So it starts out with the genie telling the story to these kids.
Yeah.
And obviously that's different from our original The Peddler Man, which was a good choice because the original Peddler was especially voiced by a obvious non-Arab person. It wasn't the best. So this is a pretty good choice, I think.
Well, I thought it was interesting because in the original, the Peddler is supposed to be the genie, isn't he? They were supposed to reveal at the end that he was a genie, but they cut that bit out. And yeah, and you could see that they were doing the same thing in this one because you know that Will Smith is the genie.
Yeah, that's right. And obviously you know that Will Smith is the genie, so you know he's going to be telling these kids the story.
Yeah.
And it's I had heard that he was going to have a love interest, so I figured pretty on what was going on, but I felt like,
did you know who it was then?
Yeah. I felt like they should have just let Will Smith sing like Will Smith, not try to be a Broadway singer, or they should have dubbed him or something. I don't know what, but his voice was kind of weak. It didn't have the strength of a Broadway singer to me, and I wish that they had just let him go full on hip hop and just do something really different with it, because it just wasn't quite there, wasn't quite good enough. But I suppose that's nitpicking, but I don't know. I just like my singers in musicals to be good singers.
Yeah, when he started singing, I was feeling like it's not really fitting the song very well. And the main thing I took away from the songs in this film was that I really enjoyed the actual music, but the singing was more average.
Yeah.
And I was really getting into Arabian Nights after a while, but I don't know, it's because of the music than because of Will Smith's voice.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a total train wreck like Emma Watson singing, but it just wasn't quite there yet for me. But they do, it's longer, Arabian Nights, than in the original, and they obviously changed some of the words.
Yeah.
It's from things. And then we get we start to tell the story, and then we get one step, and they kind of changed, one jump. They kind of changed things around. Like he feeds the kids before the song. Jasmine starts out having run away and giving out the bread to the kids, and which I always felt like was kind of a stupid thing for her character to do. Like she, especially in this one where she's supposed to be a sultan, or want to be the sultan, she has to know you have to pay for things. I mean, that's pretty stupid.
Even this film seemed a bit confused about it, didn't it? Why she does that, whether she actually knows how money works.
Yeah, it's weird. And it also starts out with Aladdin feeding the children, and he sells a bracelet the prison. So he's like outright like a thief of jewelry and stuff, which is a little bit different. Like in the animated film, it's more just to eat.
Yeah, gotta eat to live, gotta steal to eat.
Yeah, it's not. I don't really remember him. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't really remember him stealing stuff like jewelry and things. But
I think we do only see him stealing food. Yeah, like he steals a watermelon later on.
Yeah, he's more outright a thief in this movie, and so then the one jump. It's probably the most Guy Ritchie sequence of the whole movie as far as the director, because of the way it's kind of cut, and there's some like slow motion and the way it kind of moves. I think it feels the most like the director to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement all through the buildings, isn't there?
Yeah, and sometimes the movement was kind of sped up, which was weird, which was interesting, and he's kind of leaping from building to building to building.
Yeah. Now, I will say my main experience with Guy Ritchie is his crime films like Snatch and Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels.
Uh-huh.
What else did?
Yeah, I mean, those of us who saw King Arthur, most of us were very nervous about him taking on Aladdin, and so I guess it's good that it's not a total train wreck. That's for sure.
No, it's definitely not as gritty, and his films in the past tend to be grey, don't they?
Uh-huh. Yeah. And there was kind of a lot of blue in this movie, a lot of scenes at night that were a little bit not the best, but anyway, this sequence, I actually enjoyed it.
I did, yeah.
I know that a lot of people I've heard say they didn't really like that mixture of Guy Ritchie with it, but I liked it. I liked kind of the leap from the building kind of thing where she's going to pole vault to the building, and it's similar to in the animated film with the "Do You Trust Me?" and the thing. It worked for me.
Yeah. I was going to say, did you feel some of the bits at the beginning were a bit rushed? Because I mean, like if you first see the Cave of Wonders in like the introductory sequence, without any kind of explanation about it, and then as you say, Jasmine, when we first meet her, is already in the market.
Yeah,
we don't know anything about her at that point. So I was feeling like it kind of relies on you having seen the original. I'm not sure what any children of this generation would think if they were. Unless they're not looking into it that deeply. But if they haven't seen the original, then I wasn't sure how they'd take to it.
The second time I saw it, there was a little girl next to me that was very restless. That was not, it was a little frustrating because she was crawling all over things and banging on the seat, and she was not invested at all. And so obviously that's just one little girl, but it kind of made me wonder, is this appealing, especially things like invading a neighboring country and some of these plot elements that's like kids don't care about that. Like that's not interesting to them.
Like the tax dispute in the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, right.
Trade routes, rather.
And I think that this felt it's weird because it was rushed at times, rushed in the character motivations, but then also you could feel the extra 30 minutes for sure.
Yeah,
I think so.
You can't wonder if Guy Ritchie may wanted to put some extra obviously it's not realistic because it's like a fantasy, but maybe he wanted to put some extra realism with how a bit more politics in there.
Yeah,
but then you can kind of see why that stuff was mainly left out of the original film.
Yeah, I mean, I've long thought that I think these remakes are more made for adults than they really are made for kids. The adults take their kids, but as far as what they're really made for, I think they include a lot of stuff that I feel like many adults kind of view animation in sort of a dismissive way, that it's for kids, it's not as good or whatever. Yeah. And then they can go to these remakes and have all that nostalgia for the stuff they love, but this is somehow sort of elevated because it's live action. And so then they include these kind of sort of explanations to sort of try to cover the flaws of the previous films. And kids don't care about that. The
kids aren't counting how many years the beast was under the curse, are they?
Right. Yeah, they don't need to know the origin story of Aladdin's mother and Aladdin's father. They don't need to know about Jasmine's mother, like this stuff, or Belle's mother. That's not important to a kid. But it's interesting. So we get to see Jafar, and he's telling his people, you need to bring me the diamond in the rough. And his henchman says, you were not born to be sultan, and second is enough. And he says, it will never be enough. And I really disliked their portrayal of Jafar.
Yeah, Jafar just really did not work in this film.
No.
I don't know if you may have got a different actor, maybe it's like one that was slightly older or a bit more, or managed to be a bit more menacing, it might have worked better, but he's not intimidating at all. He doesn't seem particularly evil. A lot of time he kind of seems petulant, really.
Yeah, he was annoying. He wasn't powerful or strong really at all to me. And he reminded me of the villain in Civil War, Captain America Civil War, who I also found kind of grating and just sort of more irritating than scary. And I can't think of his name all of a sudden, but I did not like this Jafar at all. And I'm like, who cares about you and your stupid wars? That's not interesting to me. And I think one of the weaknesses of the original Aladdin is you don't get a really good dishy song, like a villain song. And except for you get this as a reprise of Prince Ali. And I think that's a missed opportunity here. If you're going to add something, why not get somebody who's scary, first of all, and second of all, who could do a really fun villain song? That would be great.
Yeah, because he never sings at all in this film, does he?
No.
Maybe the actor didn't feel he could pull it off, but then they could have dubbed it, couldn't they?
Yeah. So anyway, that's Jafar. I did like how, I know it's been some controversy. Some fans haven't liked the fact that they have both Aladdin and Jasmine sort of more covered than in the animated version. But I actually appreciated that as somebody who appreciates modesty and think modesty is beautiful. I liked the fact that they were more covered personally.
No, I didn't. I wasn't bothered by anything like that. I did like the costumes overall. I thought particularly with Aladdin, I would have thought like if he'd had like just a little fez like in the animated one, it wouldn't have quite looked as good at live action. So he's got a bit of a bigger headgear, hasn't he?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I did like the costumes overall.
Yeah, me too. And like I said, we found out some backstory about Jasmine's mother, that she was from the kingdom.
Allied kingdom, wasn't it?
Yeah, she was from the kingdom that Jafar wants to attack, and that she died, and they've kept Jasmine in sort of hiding ever since.
Because it says she was killed, wasn't she? And that's never explained. I was expecting some kind of reveal like Jafar killed her or something.
Yeah, that's true. They never explain it. It's probably just some mysterious mother-killing disease that they get in
or she was assassinated or something.
Yeah. But they hide Jasmine from everybody. She's not allowed to leave the castle, and because they're fearful. So yeah, that would make sense. There's some kind of attack or something. But anyway, and we get Aladdin saying, a little sad having only a monkey for parental figures. So, and you hear them both saying, sometimes I feel like I'm trapped, like I can't escape what I'm born into. And so that's very similar to what you get in the animated film when they're sitting and looking at Agrabah. Yeah, Abu steals Jasmine's bracelet, and then the guard at the castle tells Aladdin, you were born worthless and you'll die worthless.
Yeah, because again, that feels rushed, doesn't it? It's not like it's not even the other prince who says it to him, is it?
Yeah.
It's just like an offhand remark.
Yeah, and I can't remember which, because it is you're right, in the original, it's that other prince who gets kicked out. And you get a little one jump reprise there. And I think that the whole character of Hakim I thought was so odd. Like all of a sudden, I can't remember if I think he's in that scene, and it was like, it was just felt so weird to me that all of a sudden he's the one, this character we haven't gotten to know at all, is making these like crucial decisions. And Hakeem, what's your loyalty? We're like, what is going on?
As in when later on when Jafar becomes Sultan, you mean?
Yeah. Who's your loyalty, weird, Hakeem? Yeah. I'm like, what? That was weird.
It was kind of feeling like Jafar had wasted his first wish just because people can, they can just decide he's not the Sultan.
That's right. He's playing the prince that gets gets attacked by Raj in the original, and he runs out, is played by Billy Manguson. And I don't know, what do you think about this? Did you think he was too much, or did you think it was funny?
I thought it was quite funny. I kind of liked how he's obviously like, is he meant to be Scandinavian or something
like that? Yeah.
It kind of gave the emphasis on how there's like on the size of the world beyond Agrabah, didn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It was fine. It was used just enough. It had been used more, then I would have gotten irritated, but he was just in a couple scenes, so it was fine for me.
Yeah, he wasn't in it enough to be annoying.
Yeah. So what did you think of Rajesh, the tiger? What do you think of? Do you think that CGI looked good?
I thought the tiger looked pretty good. Yeah.
I thought for the most, I'm not that picky compared to some people with those kinds of things. It was okay for me. It did the job. But this is when we find out that Jafar wants to go to war, that he thinks Sharabu is a joke. He hates them. We find out it's the Mother's Kingdom. And we also find out that Jasmine wants to be Sultan. So how did you feel about this upgrade for Jasmine, that giving her sort of a career goal that she has, as opposed to just kind of wanting to be overall free, like in the original?
I didn't necessarily think it was better than the original, but I think the original worked for how it was in the whole of that film. But I did quite like how he gave you, like how they gave Jasmine a more specific goal, and kind of more something that, as you said, it's more like towards the adults who are watching.
Yeah.
I don't know if any like young girls watching would feel empowered by it. That's probably what people would hope.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was okay. I thought that Naomi Scott was so good that it kind of worked for me, but I don't think it's a material improvement from the original. I think that both cases were, strong characters, and I didn't mind her wanting to be Sultan, though. I thought that was pretty good, but I think that is something that's in there for almost more for the parents to feel like, ooh, I'm taking my kids to this empowering thing, more than I think it's really that different, like you said, from the original. So yeah.
I just liked the fact that they were doing it, changing things like this, so it wouldn't be just a rehash.
And I did think it was kind of groan worthy that they have Jafar saying that inexperience is dangerous and that borders without walls make you vulnerable to attack, which, with walls being like such a huge hot button thing, I was kind of like, okay, fine. and then he tells Jasmine, better for you to be seen and not heard. And that's when we get the first edition, more quiet edition of Speechless. This is the song written by Pasek and Paul, who did La La Land and Greatest Showman and all of this stuff. And both versions of this song, especially the second one, I really like the song, and I think she sings it very well. But it doesn't feel as out of place in this first version. But the second one, we'll talk about it more, definitely feels like a very different songwriting team than the rest of the music.
Well, the first one lasts about 30 seconds, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I wasn't that big of a fan of the song, to be honest. I mean, she sang it fine.
Yeah.
But it was it almost felt like pop, really.
It is. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like I don't know if you noticed, but when they first announced the film, there were talks that they were going to cast this this singer called Jade Furwall as Jasmine. She's part of this group called Little Mix. I don't know if you've heard of them, but she's primarily a singer. I don't think she has any acting experience besides like being in performing arts school. Well, and I was kind of wondering how that would have been if she had been playing Jasmine. Whether she'd.
But I completely agree. It's not a Broadway song at all, really. Or at least it's certainly not a Broadway song in the feel of something from the 90s Broadway era, Menken, Ashman, that whole thing. It might fit in maybe more with something like, I don't know, something like Tangled, maybe. That's a little more poppy and feel. But it definitely stood out. I like the song, but yeah, I agree. I think its placement was weird. But then you get Aladdin returning the bracelet and sneaking in, and you have kind of a fun little scene between them, and where he thinks the maid, the handmaid, I can't think of her name, I'll tell you. She is the princess, and so that's kind of fun.
We got Jasmine kind of gesturing to her, just go along with this.
Yeah. And that was fun. And then Jafar saying he sees a city where I see an empire. So, and I thought I just wasn't a huge fan of the way they handled Iago, and I especially hated when they make Iago the giant, massive bird thing.
Yeah, I was pretty let down by that climax.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, it kind of felt like they were kind of going more. I know we're kind of skipping ahead, but it just kind of felt more they were going for more like the kind of modern style of action.
Yeah.
Rather than like this more fantastical action that was in the original film with the giant cobra and the hourglass and all that.
Yeah, I agree. You get Aladdin saying, if you don't own anything, you have to act like you own everything. So there was kind of that. That was a pretty good line. And I did like also the line of the Aladdin, don't cats clean themselves? Clean the cat. That was pretty good, I thought.
That was in this earlier scene with Jasmine and Dahlia, wasn't it?
Yeah. And so Jafar catches Aladdin, takes him to the Cave of Wonders.
I was a bit confused by the Cave of Wonders because, as before, they're told not to touch anything. And yeah, it does look like Abu does touch some things in there. He kind of wanders over the coins. Yeah.
Well, he definitely touches coins for sure. I guess it's just the jewels in this case. Before that, you do have a little conversation between Jafar and Aladdin, him telling him that Jasmine is the princess. Yeah. And he tells him, I steal an apple, you're a thief. Steal a kingdom, you're immortal. And
they're kind of making Jafar more politically minded, aren't they?
Yeah, they sure are.
I think both with him and Jasmine, there's kind of like they kind of want to go more into what you actually do with power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It just didn't. Nothing they did with Jafar worked for me at all, really. And so you have Jasmine kind of waiting for him to come back. And the Cave of Wonders, and he sees the magic carpet, and I can't remember exactly what they do in the original when he sees the magic carpet, but I do think in a live action movie, the fact that he was just kind of like, oh look, a magic carpet, like, I would have probably been a little more excited. I don't know, that's just me. That's kind of cool.
I don't think he reacted that. He wasn't that there wasn't a dramatic reaction in the original.
Yeah, animated. That's fair. I don't know. But yeah, they've got all these different rubies, and he gets the lamp, and then Abu holds this like giant ruby kind of thing. And
it's not even that impressive a ruby, really.
Not really.
It just kind of falls down, and it's kind of implied that there's kind of this spell in the cave that makes you want to take the treasure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so then there's kind of this scene where the treasure turns to lava, and he's on the carpet, and there's action.
It doesn't even all turn to lava though, does it?
No, I don't think so.
There's still quite a lot left over after the cave seals itself and he's in there with the genie.
That's true. That's true. And of course, Abu steals the lamp and he rubs the lamp and he says, and the genie says, "Oh, terrible one that commands me. I stand by my oath. 3 wishes." And he asks him, "Where's your boss?" And he says, "There's always a guy. There's always a boss." Which I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, that's more Will Smith style, isn't it?
Yeah. How did you feel about, I guess, this iteration of the genie and the look of it? What did you think?
Yeah. Well, look, as you say, I think it would have been difficult to do something really that looked really good in live action because it was originally meant to be animated.
Yeah.
I didn't find it was so bad as that it was distracting.
Yeah. I don't know. I did not like the CGI. I did not like really almost anything with Blue Genie. When it's him as a normal person, then I liked it way better. But I don't know, I just felt like Friend Like Me was really bland. It felt like I was watching a cruise show version of this song. There was nothing they did, in my opinion, to kind of make it funny in its own way or make it especially memorable. Or I don't know, I didn't like it.
It was like the original ideas with extra special effects, wasn't it?
Yeah, like it would have been so good if they had I'm just pulling stuff out. Like, why not make fun of other current things like they did in the original? Like have a joke about, I don't know, have a joke about Ellen or have a joke about Jimmy Fallon or, just whatever. Like popular, you don't want to do a Trump joke because that would be very controversial. But just stuff because that was what the original Friend Like Me was full of that. There's like a Lawrence Welk joke. There's just all of this just riffing. And I just felt like it just felt flat to me.
Yeah, because I don't think there's really much point in trying to make the film timeless, is there? Because it's not gonna.
No.
It's not. It's never really going to be timeless.
No, I mean, none of these remakes are timeless. No. They're all sort of creatures of the moment. Yeah. That's why I think this Maleficent 2 is going to do terribly, and why the Alice 2 did. The only thing the Maleficent 2 has going for it is this opening right before Halloween, which is brilliant. But I don't know.
But they weren't suddenly going for the kind of anachronistic humor, weren't they? Like these jokes about modern things, like the airline stewardess, and he just like in the same way that Robin Williams did. But
did he? I don't even remember that. But yeah.
No, there was a bit with a stewardess, like after he got them out of the cave.
Oh, right.
That was the example that came to mind. But it was like doing. It was the same. The same kind of approach to the jokes. Not in the same way that Robin Williams did exactly.
Yeah.
The same kind of theme.
Well, and there's a little joke about when you say "make me a prince." That was a pretty good one. I like that. And he tells him not enough money and power. There's not enough money or power in the world to be satisfied.
Yeah, it's just like if you want power and money, then you're never gonna have enough to satisfy you. If that's what you want out of life.
Yeah. And so he kind of tricks him to get them out of the cave because he doesn't rub the lamp.
Well, I thought that was a bit weird.
Yeah. Because in the original, he just kind of talks about it being, it'd be great to get out. I wish we could get outside. Or he manages to say it without saying it. And so he gets it out. But it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. You notice that in this one, Genie never says he's not allowed to kill anybody. He says he can't make people fall in love. He says he can't bring people back from the dead. He says he can't wish for more wishes, but he never mentions not killing anyone. So I actually wondered if he was going to kill anyone.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. The way that they kind of rewind the footage and all of a sudden they're in a movie theater.
Yeah, with the little audience at the bottom.
Yeah, that was cute. I like that. That was clever. Be very specific in your wishes. I thought that was pretty funny. And there's a whole sort of sequence about him being the fashion designer and ghetto chic. and then genie designer, and that was pretty good. And I think it's me, strictly me. People will only recognize what I allow them to see. Yeah. And so this is another kind of attempt by these remakers to sort of explain, quote unquote, a plot hole, supposedly, of the original. Like why
Jafar doesn't recognize him, does he, in the original when he showed us up as Prince Ali?
Right. Yeah. And
they do the same thing in Cinderella, don't they? They have the fairy godmother say to Cinderella, "Yeah, the people who know you aren't going to recognize you."
Right, and they do that also in well, I mean, as far as explaining things that aren't really a plot hole or just are fine, but they they explain things in Beauty and the Beast as well. I don't know, whatever. I guess if people were really bothered by that plot line, they have an answer now. So good job. But let's see here. So then they get to Prince Ali number, and I just thought that sure, it was a pretty fun parade that they put on, but there were no jokes. Like, one of my favorite parts of the original Aladdin is the don't they look lovely, June? Fabulous, Harry. I love the feathers. I love that. And not that you had to do the same joke, but I was just like, why aren't there any jokes?
Yeah, it just feels like the one bit where the genie shapeshifts is when he's in drag.
Yeah, that's the only one.
Yeah, and you just think if you're going to do it that once, then it kind of feels a bit weird. Why don't you just do it more?
Yeah. He's
just like walking in front of the parade, just singing, isn't he?
Yeah, it just didn't do it for me. I didn't like it. But I did love the scene with Aladdin meeting the Sultan.
Yeah. That was very different from the original, isn't it? Because in the original, he's very confident and full of himself, and this time around, he's not really sure what to do.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, the whole jams thing, yam jams, date jams, seedless jams.
Move away from the jams.
Yeah, that was funny to me. And it is very much sort of Hitch kind of at this point. And it was definitely my favorite part of the movie and my favorite part of Will Smith in the movie for sure. And I liked he said, it's cold and dark in that lamp, but I prefer it to this. That was good. And he tells Aladdin, you're not messing up my night. And how did you feel about the fact that they did have sort of this love interest angle for the genie?
Well, I didn't really mind it. It didn't really feel that necessary.
Yeah.
It didn't make a big contribution, but I didn't find it was particularly cringeworthy or anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, I did think
it was quite funny when he was first giving her flowers and then asking her to come on a stroll with him, and she's like, just excuse me a minute, and then doing this little squee with Jasmine.
Yeah, that was cute.
You go, girlfriend.
I liked it way more than I thought I was going to, that's for sure. Because when I first heard, they're giving him a love interest, I thought, oh my gosh, that sounds awful. But it was cute enough. Yeah. And so.
And some people thought that Dahlia was going to turn out to be evil or something, like working with Jafar, because she was a completely original character, so people didn't really know what she was going to be about.
Yeah.
Some people have been debating on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Jafar talks to Ali and says, I know who you are, a man of great ambition like myself. And so they have that interaction.
It is all a bit different, like interaction, because Jafar's not plotting to marry Jasmine at this point, is he?
No. And so you get Billy Magnuson back, and Genie tells Aladdin, you have got to be more confident about what you have to offer. And Prince Ali got you through the door. Aladdin gets the girl. So I thought that, and like I said, I thought this whole party scene really worked. And we were promised this sort of Bollywood feel. And I think this is the only scene where you get a little bit of that. And then, unless you're counting the ending.
Yeah, the end credits, yeah.
Credits.
It's like Slumdog Millionaire style. ending dance sequence.
Yeah. And I liked obviously that scene where he's kind of moving Aladdin towards Jasmine. That was very funny. And there's also, you have Aladdin showing up after the party, showing up at Jasmine's room, and she's looking for a Babwa on the map. And that was a pretty cute little gag on the map of showing Disneyland.
It says Fantasyland, doesn't it?
Yeah, Fantasyland. I think it even has the castle, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it does, yeah.
The Disneyland castle, and you see a 2D animated genie. That was cute. I liked that. And and then they talk about seeing the world, and he tells her, sometimes, princess, you just have to take a risk. And we get the whole new world sequence. How did you feel about a whole new world?
I like what they did with the music and the actual visuals of the sequence. The way they don't seem to go as far as they did in the original. It seems to go all the way to China.
Yeah.
Don't they? But no, they're going along a river and a waterfall along the ocean. That's nice. I didn't feel the male singing was quite as good. No. Naomi Scott was fine.
Yeah, I agree. There was a little bit of a difference between the two.
Yeah, he was kind of abrupt in ending his sentences. Well, like, I can show you the world.
Like yeah, I thought it was well sung, though. I enjoyed it. I thought that it was about as good as I personally could have hoped for. Maybe that was low expectations, but I liked it. I thought the whole sequence was nice because I thought they had really good chemistry, and I liked the fact that Jasmine figured out that he was Aladdin, and because it makes her look smarter, which I thought was fine and fun, and because she figures, she calls out Abu, and of course he knows, but he convinces her that he really is Ali, but was just pretending to be Aladdin.
Yeah. I didn't really get the impression that Jasmine had been suspicious of it before that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's all pretty rushed, so she's really only had she's
do you trust me?
She just had the party. That's the only. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess in the scene with the jams, and we hear people don't see you when you're royalty, and so. Yeah, and we get a kiss at the end, which is different than the animated kiss, which is one of my favorite Disney kisses.
That is a nice one, yeah.
Yeah, because I like the way in the animated film, the way the carpet kind of boosts him up there like that. But I'm fine with that, whatever. But it was a little bit different. I liked when he got home and he's telling Genie about it all and about his lie to Jasmine, and he says I sort of am a prince now. And Genie says, so you're gonna drink from that cup. Which I thought was pretty good. I liked that.
It's like going in like the opposite direction from the original, is it? Like where he's like he starts off like feeling like he is a prince and then feeling like he's an imposter, whereas now he starts off feeling like an imposter and then believing he's a prince.
You're right. That's true. And so Jafar, he ends up drowning Aladdin to try to prove that he has the lamp.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that they kind of changed this, like where Aladdin, Jafar actually figures out that he is Aladdin at that point, and they're trying to drown him to see whether he survives or not.
Yeah, and that was a very Guy Ritchie moment as well, when he's thrown out the window and you see it kind of go in slow motion and he goes towards the water. That was a very Guy Ritchie moment to me.
I was kind of wondering if they changed it, because in the original it kind of seems like the guards are perfectly happy to just murder a visiting prince just because Jafar tells them to.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And he says that they say it's a team effort. There's strictly a team effort, and that Jafar has everyone fooled, and then it says not everyone, and so she doesn't have Jasmine fooled, and let's see here, and that she says that if what you said is true, that he tried to kill Prince Ali. Yeah. So there's kind of that, and you also get a scene of Jafar trying to stop the Sultan, and then Aladdin destroying Jafar's staff. Yeah. And I thought that was kind of weird because Jafar, and even in the original, it's a little bit weird, Jafar's magic, because obviously the genie is magic, but but I don't know. It just, again, it kind of felt a little bit out of place in a live action world. Whereas in animation, I guess I'm a little more forgiving of some of these kind of things. But why is he the only one that seems to be magic? But anyway, Aladdin destroys the staff, and they put Jafar in the dungeon. And this is when we start getting Hakim storyline, which I just thought was weird. That he's loyal to the Sultan above all, and that Aladdin is gone. I'm Prince Ali now. And the genie says, you're going to keep living a lie. You're going to keep living a lie, and you'd rather lie to the person that you love. The more you gain by pretending, the less you'll have.
Yeah, I was kind of, at this point I was really kind of feeling the connection between Aladdin and the genie, like I was in the original. Like Genie says, as he's not really that bothered about Aladdin not wishing him free.
Right.
He's more concerned about Aladdin living a lie and how that's going to affect everybody else.
Yeah, because
whereas in the original, he does feel betrayed by the fact that Aladdin promised to set him free and now he's not going to.
Yeah, it's kind of devastating when he doesn't, and then when he does, it's really a really emotional moment.
Exactly. Yeah. No, so I wasn't feeling it in the same way in this film.
Yeah, I agree. He goes out, and the lamp gets stolen by Jafar, and you get a little bit of so he becomes Sultan. You get a little one jump reprise there, and there's confrontation between Jafar and everyone. They're all in that whole room. Jafar's sitting there, and they did get rid of the red jasmine. The whole sort of ending was all very different.
Yeah,
and you're right. It kind of does feel like, why does he waste one of his wishes on being Sultan?
He says he's Sultan, and then Hakim, the artist, yes, you must be Sultan. Yeah. Until Jasmine says no, he's not.
Yeah, why didn't he just use his? I'm guessing his staff was broken at that point, but
you kind of wonder what's the wish kind of. You kind of wonder how the wish works, whether like his name appears on any official documents or anything like that. It's all a bit ambiguous.
But I mean, I guess, the wishes change the law and stuff. Like they're going to change the law about who you marry and things. Yeah. But Hakim, his loyalty is tested. And then immediately Jafar wants to invade Sheraba. And then that's when he tells Jasmine to stay silent. And everybody freezes. And we get this speechless song in a more... a bigger way than in the original.
Did you think it was a bit weird just how they've staged that? It seems like it's playing out in real time, and then everyone starts disappearing, and you realize that Jasmine is just imagining the whole thing.
It was weird. It totally takes you out of the movie. It totally doesn't feel. I like the song, and I thought she sang it very well, but it does feel very out of place. It just takes you out of the movie. Like it takes you out of the movie both stylistically as far as the music, but also stylistically for the time and place and where they're at and just everything. And even in the moment, having everybody freeze and her, because it's been a group effort movie. It's not her movie. It's Aladdin's movie.
Yeah.
And you
can title.
Yeah, right. And you can make Jasmine a more interesting character. I have no problem with that. In general, I liked Jasmine in this movie, but it was just a little much. It was a little much for me, and it didn't really work, even though I like the song and I thought she sang it really well.
Yeah, singing was fine. Just the style of the song, I didn't go for.
Yeah, I agree.
It just felt too much like pop.
Yeah, and I feel like in the original, I've written down here, Jasmine was strong without trying so hard, to be strong or to, I don't know, it was just more effortless, I would say.
It just feels like in films these days and TV, they have to be blatant about it, don't they?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you get this whole scene with them calling out Hakeem and him talking about, I know you're a man of honor. And that, I don't know, just felt so weird.
It felt like it felt like they expected us to care more about Hakeem than we actually did, based on everything in the film. It's not really much of a factor up to that point.
No, like I have to believe they ended up cutting a couple scenes with him or something. What? It was weird. Like it would made more sense for her handmaiden. At least we gotten to know her a little bit. I don't know, somebody that we knew. It was weird. Like, why, if this is supposed to be a really dynamic moment for Jasmine, why is somebody we don't even know or care about making the crucial decision that's going to impact the Jafar and everything? Like, it was weird.
Yeah.
Well, he says, will you stand silently or do what is right? And Aladdin tries to get the lamp, but then he's revealed by Jafar to be the imposter, to be Aladdin, and he's banished to the ends of the earth.
Yeah.
And that I thought was pretty much right out of the movie. I was fine with that.
I'm not so sure how he gets back. Does he? He seems to go through a portal all the way to the Arctic or wherever it is, and then the carpet brings him back. So does Genie make another portal or something?
I don't know. I just assumed he just I guess I just assumed he took carpet, just like in the original, right?
Yeah, he usually just flies back to Agrabah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And Jafar knows that he could just kill them all. He's that powerful, but he wants them to suffer. And so I guess part of that suffering is he's going to force Jasmine to marry him.
Which I was expecting him to use his, I wish for Princess Jasmine to fall desperately in love with me at that point. Because that would have made the Sultan suffer, certainly.
Yeah. And it's really funny because I always just laugh at these people in movies that want people that don't love them to marry them. Like, what? Yeah. That's the worst thing. That would be the worst life to ever happen. Like, it would be awful. I mean, it's
be married to somebody who hates you.
Like, yeah, it's one thing to have an arranged marriage or something like that where there's no feelings on either side. That's fine, I guess, if that's your belief. But if someone actively hates you and you're their enemy, why would you want to marry them? Like, what? It's so.
I've always been weird that after all their effort to try and make Jasmine more of a more in their eyes of what is the stronger female character, they still have Jafar trying to force her to marry him.
Yeah, and I don't know, it's just so funny. I have the same thing with Gaston. I'm like, Gaston, why would you want to marry someone that hates you? It doesn't make any sense. But so we got this marriage, and Jasmine ends up saying no, jumps off the carpet, and with Aladdin, and so there you get this whole. I forgot to write down. I think it's later on. Anyway, Iago is this eagle kind of character, and I hated that. That was awful. And
they meant him to be like a rock from the Arabian Nights, but it does just seem like he's more just a giant version of himself.
And I can't remember when, if I've written down when he becomes. Okay, it's later on. When he becomes a sorcerer versus the Sultan, but he doesn't have his staff, and he still is there. Somehow there's clouds, tornadoes, and the carpet ends up getting kind of shred.
Yeah.
We also don't get a Prince Ali reprise, which Probably because this actor probably can't sing.
Yeah.
But I love that.
He just doesn't get to show off his powerful magic that much, does he?
No.
It's mostly like he changes the Iago and he makes people float and puts what looks like a Cruciatus curse on them.
Yeah. He says, "I hold the lamp. I hold the power," and so then he's, "I can destroy kingdoms." And you're either so he says, "Who made you a sultan?" He says, "You're either the most powerful man in the room or nothing." And so then I did feel like in this version, it's very kind of mean that he pulls Iago into the lamp with him when he gets.
Parrot, you're coming with me.
I mean, he hasn't really done anything that bad. Poor Parrot.
Yeah. I will say that most of the CGI, as I said, didn't bother me, but the genie Jafar looked absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
it looked like what reminded me of it. You remember in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, towards the end, one of the henchmen actually becomes like a copy of Mr. Hyde, this big purple Mr. Hyde. It reminded me of that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but I trust you. So yeah, he goes from the sorcerer is when I can destroy kingdoms and for a little bit, and then Aladdin, once the genie once Jafar is in the lamp, then, and I've always been curious, even in the original, when some poor soul rubs that lamp, they're gonna have the most belligerent genie giving them their wishes.
Did you not see the Return of Jafar?
Yeah. That's true. I haven't seen that in a long time, many years. I need to watch it again, but
it was like a pilot for the TV series.
Yeah. So Aladdin apologizes. Genie fixes the carpet, and he offers for the third wish. You
can fix the carpet without anyone needing to wish for it.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it's just other magical items he can fix. I don't know. But it's just humans he can't fix. But who knows? And so he offers to make him a warrior. He offers to change the law for him. And then Aladdin sets the genie free. And that was fine. It was good. I liked it just fine. But
it seems like he becomes a normal human without any powers once he's free, doesn't it?
Yeah. And just it's not the same as in the original with I'm free. And maybe part of it is because now we know what happened with Robin Williams, and so that scene in the original just makes me just cry every time. It's so emotional, and it's just a beautiful moment between these friends. And in this, it's a little bit more like, thanks.
Yeah.
That was nice of you. But he's of course you don't get the I'm off to see the world. And
just gonna go get a boat.
Yes, a boat with the handmaiden. And so then you find out that Jasmine is going to be made the sultan, and they can change the law. And Aladdin leaves the palace, and she says, "Stop, thief! The Sultan commands it." And you get our kind of ending there, and you get their wedding, and it's kind of a Bollywood style. So that's basically the movie. And what do you think of Friend Like Me with DJ Khaled?
I think I probably left once the Bollywood sequence was over.
Oh, did you? Okay. Yeah, it was fun. I didn't really like the DJ Khaled part, but I don't know, it was just something different. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I've seen it twice, and I think it's not awful. I didn't want to die watching it. It has its pluses. I liked Aladdin and Jasmine, but I don't know. I just didn't think it was particularly great or special or memorable.
Yeah, I did. I did enjoy myself overall. There was more good than bad, but
Uh-huh.
I didn't enjoy myself to a spectacular degree. It was
No.
only all right.
Did you see Dumbo?
No, I didn't. I wasn't that bothered about Dumbo.
Yeah, no, I liked Dumbo. I don't know, it hit me just on the right day and the right week, but I have to go see it again to kind of decide how I really feel about it, I think. But yeah, I don't know. These just live action remakes, just not my favorite. It was harmless. This was harmless. It had some good things about it. It had a good lead two characters. It had really, I liked Hitch version of Will Smith, Genie, and I'm not offended by it or anything like that. It was fine, but it wasn't enough. I couldn't recommend it.
I think I was I was looking forward to this one more than I'm looking forward to the
Lion King.
The new Lion King. Yeah, I think
yeah.
I don't like it. I don't feel like either film has been marketed that well, but at least with this one, looks like you could tell they were doing some things differently, whereas the Lion King just looks exactly the same, apart from the more Jungle Book effects.
I mean, it's picking poison for me. I don't know. But I thought this one was, I guess, better than I thought it was. I thought this one was better than I thought it was going to be, because I didn't think it I thought it looked awful, and it was just fine. I was mixed on it. There were things I liked, things I didn't like, but that's all I can really say about it.
I was hoping it was going to be a little bit better than it was.
Yeah.
I was trying to keep an open mind without any real expectations, but I knew I wasn't going to like it as much as the original.
Yeah.
So I was hoping for a little bit better.
That's fair. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see what people I don't know what people really think about it and how it ends up. I mean, I think it's just one of those ones that can be forgot about very quickly, but we'll see, I guess.
I think it's been doing pretty well at the box office on its first weekend, hasn't it?
Yeah, surprisingly well, in my opinion, at least. I thought
it was by just over what was estimated.
Yeah, because they had 84. They were estimating close to, I think, around 90 million, and they were right. It got 84 for the weekend, not the 4-day weekend, just the 3-day weekend, and that was a lot more than I thought it was gonna. I was thinking it was gonna be more like 60. So good job. I was joking on Twitter today. I'm like, congratulations to Disney for somehow making your remake of Aladdin be an underdog story. Everybody be like, oh, that was better than I thought. I was like, it's I don't know, it's just funny. But.
It's competing against the Secret Life of Pets 2 right now, isn't it?
Not quite yet. They did a special early Fandango event screening of Secret Life of Pets 2, but it was competing. There were 2 smaller releases in the theaters that came out that were both R-rated. So it was a good spot for it, and John Wick 3. So all 3 are rated. So I think that definitely helped it.
Next week we have Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Yeah, and because the only other, because then you had, if people consider Endgame, which I don't really consider a family film, but I know a lot of families went to it, but it was really the only family film out right now, which was, I think, pretty. And Ugly Dolls, but nobody went to see that. So poor thing. But anyway, that's the Aladdin. So if you're listening, let us know what you thought of Aladdin, the various different parts we talked about. We'd love to hear your thoughts about Jafar or Jasmine or Aladdin or all the different things, the music, the genie, all that stuff. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And so, Richard, where can people find you on social media, all that fun stuff?
Well, my blog is at velociraptor256.wordpress.com. I can also be found on Twitter at RJ_Southworth.
Great. And are you going to do an Aladdin review, you think? Or just...
I've done one on my blog, yeah.
Oh, did you? I missed it. Sorry about that. I'll check it out. But yeah, make sure you're following Richard, and you can follow me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, and on iTunes and YouTube. If you're listening on iTunes, if you could give us your ratings and reviews, really appreciate it. And if you are listening on YouTube, if you can give us thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, really appreciate that as well. And thanks so much. This was really fun to do. And if you want more access to Rachel's Reviews, to Hallmarky's channel, to all the different things that I talk about, please consider becoming a patron of the channel. We give you some exclusive early reviews, early content, and we have a Facebook group that talks about all of these different things that we're doing. And so it's really fun, and it's only, you can start at $2 a month. So please check that out. And so thanks again for doing this. I really enjoyed talking about it. It was fun. Okay. And so we'll have to get together, because we used to do stuff all the time, but it's been a little bit of a while. So hopefully we can record again soon.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Bye.